Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something really fun. We are taking a look at a literal masterclass in concise communication, a fast-paced, 60-second script put together specifically for the channel Abdul Hadi AI World. But hey, instead of just reading it to you in a minute and calling it a day, we're going to do something much more valuable. We're going to slow the whole thing down. We're going to deconstruct it and expand this short script into a full-on learning journey. We'll uncover exactly how it grabs an audience, and of course, how the underlying AI tech it talks about actually works under the hood.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for the breakdown. First, unpacking the AI brain. Second, demystifying neural networks. Third, the step-by-step image filter. Fourth, real-world AI applications. And fifth, grounding your AI research.
All right, Section 1, Unpacking the AI Brain. This covers that crucial 0 to 10-second hook. Ever wondered how AI actually thinks? And, it's brilliant because it's just so simple. Notice how thinks is in quotes? That's because the script is immediately acknowledging that, well, AI doesn't have a conscious mind like you or I do, but it mimics our cognitive processes in a way that feels pretty incredibly lifelike. It's posing a question literally everyone in the modern digital age has asked themselves at some point. It instantly sparks curiosity, right? It really just highlights the sheer power of a relatable hook to kick off a complex topic.
Now, what's really interesting here is how the script answers its own opening question. It doesn't bore you with technical jargon right out of the gate. Instead, it instantly shatters the illusion of magic. It literally says, it's not magic, it's neural networks. And by doing that, it tells us that the stuff that feels like absolute wizardry, talking to a chatbot or generating a stunning image, is actually a grounded scientific reality. It bridges that gap between sci-fi fantasy and real computer science perfectly.
Moving right along to Section 2, Demystifying Neural Networks. This is the 10 to 30-second brain segment.
So the crucial point is this. The script acknowledges that AI is a massive, broad field, but neural networks, they're the brain of the operation. It defines them exactly like our source material does. They are inspired by human neurons, using layers of math to find patterns in data. And this is so smart. Grounding a highly complex computer science concept in human biology makes it relatable right away. I mean, when people hear math or algorithms, a lot of them just completely tune out. But by tying it to the biological neurons inside our own heads, the abstract suddenly feels familiar and organic. It gives you a strong mental anchor. Actually, I want to pause here for a second and just elaborate on this one incredibly concise sentence. Layers of math find patterns in data. Because, wow, this is the fundamental truth of modern AI, distilled into just 8 words. When you strip away all the fancy interfaces and the Silicon Valley buzzwords, the whole shebang boils down to mathematical pattern recognition. Those layers it mentions, that's the deep architecture of the networks, where data gets passed through successive mathematical transformations. Each layer finds a more complex pattern, building on the last one. So it's not intuition. It's pure, beautiful mathematics working at a massive scale to find structure in the chaos.
Let's move to Section 3, the step-by-step image filter. This covers the 30 to 50-second How It Works segment.
This part brilliantly illustrates the journey of the data. The script asks you to think of a neural network like a filter. Let's actually walk step by step through this visual filter process to see how this builds. Step 1, the input goes in. Let's say it's a photo. Step 2, the very first layers look at the raw pixels, basically just recognizing basic light and dark spots or simple edges. Step 3, the next layers combine those edges into recognizable shapes, like circles or triangles. And then Step 4, the deeper layers combine those shapes into complex features, maybe an ear, a nose, whiskers, until finally it pieces it all together and spits out, that's a cat. Why use a cat, though? Because it's a universal, instantly recognizable concept. By taking something as mundane as identifying a house cat and revealing the insane layered math required to do it, the script completely demystifies the whole process. It turns layers of math into a deliberate, visual journey from a raw input to a final output.
All right, on to Section 4, Real-World AI Applications. This is the 50 to 60-second outro.
To prove that this isn't just some theoretical academic exercise, the script highlights that these neural networks are the engine behind wildly diverse applications. It specifically calls out Urdu language translation and self-driving cars. Just think about that for a second. How different are those two things? One is about understanding the delicate semantic nuances of human language, and the other is processing real-time visual and spatial data to safely navigate a massive vehicle down a highway. Yet, the foundational tech behind both, finding patterns in data through layers of math, is exactly the same. Mind-blowing, right? Then, the 60-second script wraps up with a strong call to action. Subscribe to master the future. What's super clever about this is how it empowers the audience. It positions AI knowledge not just as fun trivia, but as an absolutely crucial skill for navigating the years ahead. By subscribing to Abdul Hadi AI World, you're not just passively consuming content, you're taking an active step to master tomorrow's technology today.
And finally, Section 5, grounding your AI research. We're talking meta-analysis and notebook LM.
So the source points out a crucial reality for anyone creating these kinds of explainer scripts. While pulling from general knowledge is totally fine for basic overviews, tools like Notebook LM really work best when you upload your own specific study notes or PDFs right into the source panel. I really want to emphasize this. In an era where AI generates information so fast, relying solely on broad, general AI generation can sometimes give you vague or even slightly inaccurate stuff. But by supplying your own vetted materials, you ensure your educational scripts remain deeply accurate, trustworthy, and firmly grounded in specific facts, complete with reliable citations. You basically maintain total control over the truth of your content. Which brings us to a really provocative final thought directly from our source material. The basic principles of how these networks filter data, from pixels to shapes to features, are rock solid. But breakthroughs in this field are literally happening every single day. So it leaves us with this lingering invitation. Would you like to use fast research to find the latest 2026 breakthroughs in neural networks to make this script even more cutting edge? Something to think about until next time.